Okay, let's just jump right in. We live in this world where, fame used to be the byproduct of doing something really successful.
Right.
You'd write a hit song, you'd star in a blockbuster movie, maybe win a Nobel Prize. That's how it worked.
That was the path.
But now, that entire equation feels like it's been completely flipped on its head. It really feels like success, at least in commercial terms, is now just a byproduct of fame itself.
Hmm.
And that fame it's just a metric. It's almost divorced from any real talent or achievement.
That is exactly the radical transformation we're diving into today. The whole architecture of notoriety is shifting right under our feet.
Right.
And it is fundamentally changing how both commerce and entertainment operate. We aren't just talking about some minor trend here.
No, this is systemic.
It's a seismic shift in economic power. The question isn't just how people get famous anymore. It's how that fame is monetized, how it's measured, and this is a critical part, how its perceived authenticity actually determines its value.
Our mission today, then, is a deep dive into the source material you provided, and it paints this incredibly complex picture of, I guess, the modern celebrity machine as it's operating in 2025 and into 2026.
It really does.
We've got comprehensive research forecasting this astronomical growth of the creator economy. We're talking, potentially hitting $480 billion by 2027?
An incredible number.
Alongside that, we have deep dives into marketing budget reallocation, the dedicated high-speed pipeline that moves contestants from reality TV shows.
Like The Bachelor and Love Island?
Exactly. Straight into what is essentially digital entrepreneurship. And then finally, how follower counts are now impacting professional casting decisions all across Hollywood.
And that brings us to our big question, the through line for this entire discussion.
Yeah.
It's whether the audience is still chasing pure reach. Those enormous, often inflated follower numbers that used to signify influence.
The gold model.
Or are they now prioritizing value and authenticity? Who are they choosing to follow? And critically, who are they choosing to buy from?
And that distinction is forcing this massive strategic overhaul for brands. It's radically redefining the role of casting directors.
And it's completely rewriting the career path for any hopeful contestant trying to build a sustained career out of, performing their real life on camera. We really need to understand the mechanics of this value shift.
So let's start where the money is moving, the marketing landscape. Our sources are suggesting a major non-hypothetical shift happening right now. We're seeing influencer marketing budgets stagnate, or in some cases even decline, while creator partnerships are just booming. So why is the distinction between these two terms, which, let's be honest, they often seem interchangeable to the casual viewer, why is that distinction so financially important right now?
The difference is it's absolutely profound, and it signals a maturity in digital advertising that, frankly, took years to achieve.
Brands have been burned.
They've been burned by vanity metrics, exactly. They realized that chasing that celebrity-style influence and that short-term buzz, which often involved paying astronomical rates for posts that delivered huge awareness, but
Zero verifiable sales.
zero.
Right.
So they spent so much time and money combating things like bot followers and, these inflated reach numbers that looked great on a presentation slide, but they just didn't move product off the shelves.
So it's not just about getting eyeballs on a flashy ad one time. It's about traceable, repeatable, long-term conversion.
Precisely. The core goal has shifted entirely.
Yeah.
We're moving from awareness, which was the traditional focus of influencer marketing, to conversion-led creator partnerships.
Okay, so what does that actually mean in practice?
It means content creators are seen not just as, passive megaphones, but as true collaborators. They're building content that aligns directly with specific brand goals and, most importantly, with the audience's needs.
And this isn't just a hypothetical projection. The money is there.
The financial backing for this shift is staggering. Like you said, the creator economy is projected to hit $480 billion by 2027. This isn't a secondary marketing channel anymore. It's becoming a foundational pillar of modern commerce.
Let's really break down that core strategic difference then, because the mechanics of how they operate and, how they make their money, that's what truly separates them.
Absolutely. Think of influencer marketing as being almost exclusively rooted in maximizing reach.
Okay.
It typically focuses on broad appeal, aspirational lifestyle content. It's often trend-driven, designed to capture a really fleeting moment of attention.
And the content itself reflects that.
Completely. And that's reflected in the content's shelf life. Our sources note that content designed for these high-velocity platforms like Instagram Reels, it typically peaks in just around 19 hours.
19 hours, that's it.
That's it. The content is essentially disposable, which means the influencer has to be perpetually feeding the algorithm. The revenue model is then heavily weighted toward these high-fee, one-off sponsored posts or paid brand endorsements.
So it's a high-burn, high-maintenance operation, all focused on immediate short-term buzz. So then, what about the creator economy? That's where the value proposition entirely changes.
That's the long game. It's built on sustainable value. The creator economy is built on delivering long-term value and establishing deep subject matter trust.
So the content style has to be different.
It shifts dramatically. It moves from being purely aspirational to educational or relatable, technical, niche-specific, value-driven content.
Right, and instead of just being on one platform.
Exactly. Instead of relying on the whims of one algorithm, creators diversify. They create these entire ecosystems across multiple channels. You've got long-form content on YouTube, newsletters providing curated information, specialized podcasts, blogs.
And the revenue structure has to support that longevity.
It does. It shifts away from those big one-off payments to multi-channel revenue streams that thrive on sustained attention.
Like what?
Things like affiliate links, paid subscriptions to premium content, and selling proprietary digital products like courses or ebooks.
And this is where the longevity factor really kicks in.
It's critical, and the data here is so important. While a reel peaks in 19 hours, evergreen content, like a deep tutorial or an authoritative review on YouTube, it drives sustained conversions for months, sometimes even years.
Right.
One source cites the average longevity of YouTube content being 8.8 days, and that's just the average for continued performance. It's vastly superior to that 19-hour peak.
Logistically, for the person making the content, that difference in shelf life must be massive. It means the influencer is on this exhausting, nonstop content treadmill, while the creator is building an asset base, a library, that can generate passive income over time.
That's the core labor difference right there. The influencer has to constantly chase the next trend just to maintain their reach. Sure. The creator is building that library of high-value assets, and that leads us directly to the critical concept here, the trust conversion loop. That's the engine driving this entire economic shift.
That trust is the commodity. It really is. And the statistics on consumer perception are truly illuminating.
Trust is paramount. We know that 60% of consumers explicitly trust creators who feel relatable and authentic.
60%?
They feel like they know this person. And crucially, they feel this person is speaking to them, not at them.
And zooming out even further.
Zooming out, 89% of consumers trust personal recommendations from people they trust over virtually any other marketing channel out there.
Wow.
Creators capitalize on this by operating within these highly specific niche communities where trust is naturally higher. And that high trust, it directly translates into measurable conversion because the recommendation feels genuine and, targeted.
So if I'm a brand selling, I don't know, specialized fishing gear, I don't need a supermodel talking about my new lure.
Exactly.
I need a creator who is already deeply embedded in the fly fishing community, who those buyers already trust implicitly.
This is it, precisely. And that shift toward niche trust is what validates the triumph of the micro creator. It's reversing that classic Hollywood and advertising logic. The bigger follower counts are always better.
Okay, but I have to challenge this premise just for a second. For mega brands, a global sneaker company or a soft drink, don't they still need that massive short-term buzz from a celebrity or a large-scale traditional influencer?
That's a great point.
Can micro creators truly replace that immediate high-volume reach?
And the data shows it's not a total replacement. It's a strategic reallocation. Mega brands will always reserve a slice of their budget for those big, high-awareness celebrity deals.
Okay.
However, the data also shows that the most effective and the fastest-growing strategies are these performance-driven programs with nano and micro creators.
Why is that?
It allows them to optimize their strategies to save significant costs because these smaller creators charge a lot less while simultaneously driving measurable, attributable results that those vanity metrics simply couldn't capture.
And this leads us to the critical technical detail we need to unpack, attribution. How do brands actually measure the superior ROI of a micro creator versus a celebrity who just posts a photo?
Attribution is the key differentiator. When you pay a celebrity 6 figures for a single post, it's very, very hard to isolate whether the resulting sales spike was because of that post or just general marketing noise.
It's all muddled.
Completely. With a micro creator, the attribution is surgical. Brands prioritize these deep affiliate partnerships, providing unique, targeted UTM tracking links and personalized discount codes.
And the audience actually uses them.
Because a micro-creator's audience is so niche and so engaged, they are far more likely to use that unique code or link. And that means the brand gets quantifiable proof of performance. So these smaller creators, specifically those with just 100 to 1,000 highly engaged followers, they often charge dramatically less but deliver a superior return on investment.
And the numbers back this up. The sources say micro creators deliver, 2.4 to 6.7 times more engagement than those massive large-scale influencer posts.
That is an enormous disparity in performance per dollar spent. It's huge.
It is.
And this insight is what's driving the 2026 strategy. Brands are moving away from relying on celebrity endorsements, which used to dominate everything, and they're now investing heavily and nearly equally in micro and macro creators.
Do we have numbers on that?
We do. Our sources show a 47% planned investment for each of those tiers. This is a deliberate strategic disinvestment in pure reach in favor of measurable engagement.
We can see this strategic budget shift happening right now. The total influencer spend isn't climbing as aggressively as it used to.
Correct. The data confirms a strategic budget reallocation. Only 49.2% of brands plan to increase their general influencer spend in 2025.
And that's down from what?
That's down from nearly 60% just the previous year. That slowdown signals a clear budget shift away from broad, short-term influencer campaigns and toward those highly specific, conversion-focused creator partnerships that generate tangible ROI.
The market has just matured.
It has. Marketers are demanding conversions, not just clicks or impressions anymore.
This ultimately leads us to the fusion of social and creator commerce. The distinction between consuming content and making a purchase is, well, it's rapidly vanishing.
That line is indeed vanishing, and this is the future of retail. Creator-led storytelling is rapidly becoming the cornerstone of the actual path to purchase. U.S. social commerce sales are projected to surpass $100 billion in 2026.
$100 billion?
$100 billion. And this massive growth is driven by consumer behavior.
How significant is that behavior change?
It's huge. 56% of consumers now purchase directly through a social platform's own shopping feature.
So they don't even leave the app.
They never leave. They see the product demonstrated or reviewed by a creator they trust, and if the platform makes it instantly shoppable via a shoppable video, a live stream drop, or an integrated storefront, the conversion loop is complete, frictionless, and immediate.
The brand doesn't need to drive traffic to an external website.
Nope. The transaction happens right where the trust was built.
So the strategic takeaway for any brand or entrepreneur listening is simple. Stop buying one-off awareness shots.
Yes.
And start building long-term affiliate relationships with micro and macro creators who hold genuine, verifiable trust within their niche communities. That is where sustained ROI lives in the digital age.
Exactly. Reallocate those budgets. Move them from generalized, short-term influencer investments to deep creator-led affiliate partnerships and fully integrate social commerce tactics. And if you're a creator, you need to be thinking less about being famous and more about being indispensable and trustworthy to a specific high-value community.
That focus on creating long-term trustworthy content stands in such stark contrast to our next topic, the fame factory. The machine that produces personalities designed for maximum short-term buzz. We're pivoting now from digital creators born online to those manufactured on network TV, and really recognizing the reality television industry as the dedicated, sophisticated fame machine it is today.
And it's vital to historically ground this shift. Modern reality TV really hit the mainstream in the early 2000s, and it was driven by a need for cheap, high-viewer content.
Right.
The foundational show Survivor in 2000, American Idol in 2002, and The Bachelor that same year, they fundamentally changed the television business model.
So Survivor really pioneered that challenge format. It proved that audiences would tune in for strategy and human struggle in an engineered environment.
It did, but American Idol was truly revolutionary in terms of celebrity creation and audience engagement.
How so?
It wasn't just about watching a show, it was about participating. It transformed ordinary contestants into instant celebrities through mass viewer participation via voting.
That voting mechanism was everything.
It generated not only immense connection, but immense profitability. By 2004, Idol was generating over $10 million in revenue from voting alone. It was the first time viewers felt like they owned a piece of the contestant's success, and that forged these deep parasocial relationships that underpin digital fame today.
And that audience connection paved the way for the celebrity subgenre. moving beyond competitions to focus on the private lives of personalities.
Exactly. Once that connection was established, producers realized the audience would watch the mundane. The Osbournes in 2002 proved the family sitcom model could be unscripted.
Right.
And then, Keeping Up with the Kardashians in 2007 just perfected it. They demonstrated that documenting the day-to-day lives of personalities, that aspirational lifestyle content that would later fuel all of Instagram, could be immensely lucrative. Our sources note the Kardashian family earned a staggering $65 million by 2010.
$65 million.
They were the earliest, most successful practitioners of the performance of self that would define the next decade of digital fame.
But the real inflection point for digital fame, that came with the pipeline solidifying in the dating shows. The Bachelor and Love Island model. That's where the mechanics of network TV meet the monetization speed of social media.
That's where the core tension just explodes. The original premise of shows like The Bachelor was finding love, and anything less was criticized as having not right reasons.
Right, that was the big sin.
It was. But the explosion of the influencer marketing industry around 2015-2016 introduced such overwhelming financial incentives that the not right reasons narrative became the default expectation. Contestants now routinely enter these shows with the express, often primary goal of making social media their full-time job.
Because the potential reward completely dwarfs any traditional prize money.
The numbers are astronomical. We are talking about finalists who once walked away with a respectable, 30,000 to maybe 500,000 new followers.
Which was huge at the time.
It was. Now they easily surpass 1 million followers. That following immediately transforms them into digital entrepreneurs. It opens the door to massive media opportunities, specialized agencies, and, of course, these lucrative brand collaborations.
So who was patient zero in the Bachelor universe? When did that TV fame strategically merge with Instagram monetization and set the stage for every contestant who followed?
The key moment is traced precisely to 2014-2015. This was the period when Instagram exploded to 350 million active users and brands began funneling serious advertising dollars into the platform.
And agencies started recruiting.
Agencies started actively recruiting reality personalities. And Ashley Iaconetti, who appeared on The Bachelor in 2015, she's identified as an early, highly strategic example of this shift. She went from TV contestant to digital content creator.
And her actions weren't accidental. They were proactive branding linked directly to her screen time.
It was pure business acumen. She understood the feedback loop perfectly. She was known on the show for her dramatic persona and, ironically, her often running makeup.
Right.
So after each episode aired, she would immediately post screen grabs of her makeup looks from the show, and she would direct her rapidly growing followers to her website to recreate the look. She was taking her on-screen performance and turning it into an immediate, shoppable moment.
That's brilliant.
That innovation connecting screen time to consumable lifestyle content led directly to her first significant deal, a paid partnership for $1,000 for 4 Instagram posts from FabFitFun.
And that single transaction basically codified the standard manual for every contestant who followed. It's a literal playbook now.
It is the established path to digital entrepreneurship within that franchise. Step 1, maximize screen time. Whether you achieve that through genuine connection, manufactured drama, or effective villainy, it doesn't matter.
Just stay on camera.
Stay on camera.
Sure.
Step 2, aggressively grow the follower base on all platforms while the episodes are airing. Step 3, connect immediately with dedicated influencer agencies like Digital Brand Architects or Neon Management in the UK, often before the finale even airs.
Then come the deals.
Step 4, land brand deals. And if you're strategic, Step 5, go on the spin-offs like Bachelor in Paradise to continue generating content, visibility, and extending that fame cycle.
And most of them quit their day jobs.
The financial gravity of this path is undeniable. As our sources confirm, most of them quit their day jobs afterward because the fame has become their primary and most lucrative source of income.
It's fascinating how the producers have completely internalized and accepted this. I mean, it's part of the storyline now.
They have totally adopted the if you can't beat them, join them philosophy because, frankly, the influencer narrative drives views.
So they lean into it.
The show has now even started labeling contestants as social media participants or content creators in their on-screen bios.
Right.
When a contestant like Jed Wyatt admitted he joined The Bachelorette primarily to boost his music career, the admission wasn't met with the urgent hostility that such a revelation would have received in earlier seasons. The focus has entirely shifted. It's not about whether a contestant has influence or fever anymore. It's just about how effectively they are managing their symptoms, because that efficiency is now rewarded.
And this fame factory model isn't exclusive to traditional television anymore. It's been perfectly mirrored in digital native collectives like the Hype House phenomenon.
The Hype House, co-founded in 2019 by Thomas Petrou and Chase Hudson, was the digital native equivalent of the reality TV compound. Initially, there was this stated belief in a collaborative, humble, creative spirit.
The story they told.
Yeah, just kids hanging out and filming content where it wasn't about numbers or followers, but about synergy.
But that utopian promise, it proved completely unsustainable the moment individual success became monetized.
It dissolved almost immediately. The minute key members like Addison Rae and the D'Amelio sisters achieved mainstream superstardom and moved on to massive individual brand deals, the conflict began.
Of course.
The remaining members faced escalating pressure to constantly produce content just to maintain the collective relevance. This pressure fueled anxiety, internal conflict, and intense isolation among the members. The house, designed for collaboration, nearly fell apart due to the stress of competitive individualism.
So what's the ultimate lesson there, whether it's the engineered environment of the bachelor house or the supposedly organic chaos of the Hype House?
The bleak revelation, as one source powerfully framed it, is that the promise of collaboration and community in a content house is fundamentally at odds with the demands of an industry that rewards and amplifies the individual over the collective.
It's a zero-sum game.
Fame, when it's monetized through individual follower counts, engagement rates, and personal brand deals, is inherently a zero-sum game within that collective environment. Success demands the spotlight, and the spotlight cannot be shared equally.
That dynamic takes us right into the central dilemma of this new architecture of fame. The authenticity crisis. The ultimate currency, as we noted in part 1, is authenticity, or at least the highly convincing appearance of it. But if contestants are entering reality TV with a social media monetization plan already hatched, doesn't that fundamentally erode the reality in unscripted television?
It creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of inauthenticity. Many contestants now enter TV with a calculated agenda, primarily focused on curating a pristine, non-controversial image that will maximize their future appeal to brands.
Right, they're playing it safe.
We saw this explicitly referenced with Love Island Season 7 contestants. After the Season 6 stars became million-follower influencers, the Season 7 participants knew their trajectory, their actions in the villa, their calculated choices of words, their avoidance of conflict. It was all visibly dictated by the need to protect their future digital brand image.
So the performance is no longer for the romantic partner or even the viewer at home, but for the marketing manager who might be watching from the sidelines.
Precisely. And that control extends further out the chain, blurring the lines of what unscripted even means. While contestants use social media for greater agency over their image, we see extreme examples like the Kardashian family becoming executive producers on their own shows.
Giving them near total control.
Total control over their storylines and what is ultimately shown to the audience. That's not reality. That's a hyper-curated docuseries framed as reality.
And reality TV relies so heavily on what academics refer to as surveillance to create that illusion of intimacy. Our sources describe it as constant monitoring and heavy editing to create those highly profitable parasocial relationships with the audience.
We really need to unpack that surveillance mechanism fully, and to do that we have to draw on the concept of the electronic panopticon.
Okay, break that down for us.
The original panopticon was an architectural design for a prison where a single guard could observe all inmates without them knowing when they were being watched.
So the prisoners always assume they're being watched.
And the result?
Yeah.
The inmates self-police. They behave as if they are constantly under supervision. This is the reality TV environment. The surveillance, the thousands of cameras, the microphones, the constant monitoring. It isn't for objective documentation. It is designed to increase profit by generating enough content to facilitate heavy editing.
Meaning the audience only sees a manufactured, heavily edited performance of everyday life. The contestants are performing a version of themselves they believe the camera and the public want to see.
Exactly. They are perpetually aware they are under this electronic panopticon, and they feel immense pressure to perform themselves correctly, to be charismatic, sincere, or dramatically villainous, to ensure they are well received and thus profitable upon their exit.
They have to self-censor.
They must, in effect, self-censor any behavior that might jeopardize a future endorsement deal. This necessitates a massive suspension of disbelief from the audience, who crave authenticity while knowing the environment is completely engineered.
Let's use the Love Island case study, which is framed explicitly as finding love. We noted the intense engineered emotional pressure that contestants face inside that villa.
The environment is a pressure cooker. The underlying mechanism is a high-stakes competition where a contestant must play the game to stay relevant and advance, even if they have to fake sincerity in a relationship.
And the environment itself contributes to that.
The environment, the isolation from the outside world, limited stimulation, constant scrutiny, is designed to induce perpetually heightened emotional states and aggressive reactions. This is consistent with what's known as the hydraulic model of emotions.
That's a key piece of jargon. We need to explain that for the listener. What is the hydraulic model, and how does it apply here?
The hydraulic model suggests that negative emotions like anger, jealousy, or sexual frustration build up inside a closed system, much like pressure in a sealed hydraulic chamber.
And if there's no release valve?
If this pressure isn't ventilated, it eventually explodes. The producers of Love Island effectively bottle up these emotions through isolation and intense competition, creating an environment where the eventual explosion of drama, conflict, tears, and aggressive reactions is virtually guaranteed.
So they don't just get upset.
They get aggressively upset, ensuring compelling high-stakes television that translates into high viewership.
And the social media component has made the immediate scrutiny of this engineered drama central to the show's reception.
It absolutely has. The show is consumed on two parallel screens. The discussions about behaviors, the immediate, often critical debates about gaslighting or toxic masculinity on social platforms like TikTok and X are now a critical, unavoidable part of the program's narrative reception.
So the show becomes a catalyst for bigger conversations.
It functions as a cultural catalyst. While young viewers recognize that the relationships are constructed for TV, the show acts as a launching point for these massive public discussions about healthy and unhealthy relationship dynamics. It's raising real-world awareness of issues like manipulation.
The audience isn't passive.
Not at all. They're engaging critically with the ethics and morality being displayed, even if that morality was hydraulically engineered for profit.
That brings us to the final element of Fame's new architecture. The professional acting world, where follower count clashes directly with craft. The tension between talent and marketability is now an unavoidable factor in casting.
It is part of the modern casting equation, particularly in TV and film. Casting directors now routinely review a comprehensive digital portfolio that goes far beyond a headshot and a reel.
They're looking at social media.
They scrutinize follower count, engagement rate, likes, comments, shares, audience demographics, and even platform-specific metrics like TikTok completion rates.
And why are these metrics given such weight?
Because they offer a quantifiable measure of an actor's marketability and, critically, their potential to significantly reduce a production's marketing budget.
So an actor with 5 million followers isn't just a familiar face. They are a built-in marketing campaign.
Exactly. They eliminate millions in potential advertising costs because the studio or network can leverage the actor's existing social reach for promotion, targeting, and generating that initial hype. However, the industry is fundamentally divided on how much weight these numbers should actually carry.
And we have a nuanced perspective on this divide from our sources.
We do. Casting director Bess Pfeiffer states that follower count is generally not the key factor in getting actors into the audition room for serious roles. Talent, fitting the role, and the quality of the work still open the doors.
But it can be a tiebreaker.
She notes it may be referenced and certainly leveraged for lead roles that explicitly require a built-in following to ensure box office or streaming success.
And on the other side?
On the other side, analysis from Aditya Surana confirms that while a well-known face attracts initial attention, audiences ultimately stay for compelling performances and engaging narratives. You can buy the view, but you can't buy the retention without talent.
So if you're an actor focused on craft, should you abandon traditional training and just focus solely on becoming a digital micro-creator?
Absolutely not, and the sources are definitive here.
Yeah.
Talent, professionalism, a well-crafted resume and reel, and simply being the best fit for the role matter far, far more. No amount of followers can compensate for weak acting skills, a lack of professionalism, or an inability to take direction.
There's a risk there.
Focusing too heavily on vanity metrics risks undermining the integrity of the casting process and unfairly sidelining truly talented individuals without large followings. Craft builds a lasting career. Metrics, build a fleeting moment of buzz.
But there's a sobering paradox hidden in the statistics that makes this situation so complicated for artists.
The paradox is brutal. While talent is the indispensable foundation, acting talent alone accounts for only about 7% of why an actor is cast.
Only 7%.
That means 93% is timing, networking, luck, and increasingly, marketability. A strong digital presence does not replace the 7% of talent, but it provides the necessary accelerant, the marketability, to stand out in that competitive 93%.
So how should a working actor leverage social media smartly? What's the recommended balance between performance of craft and performance of self?
The advice is strategic, and it emphasizes quality over quantity. Actors should focus on building genuine connections and providing value, not chasing enormous follower counts.
So what does that look like?
This means engaging authentically with industry professionals, thoughtful commentary on their work, not just demanding attention-posting professional, high-quality behind-the-scenes content that showcases their work ethic, like rehearsal clips or set experiences, and creating actual value, like educational tips or sharing insights on set etiquette.
A smaller, more engaged following is better.
A niche group of a few hundred engaged, industry-relevant followers who respect your work is exponentially more valuable than hundreds of thousands of passive scrollers. You must maintain a professional and positive online presence that complements and showcases your actual craft, rather than distracting from it or replacing it entirely.
So this entire deep dive has revealed that the foundations of success in the digital age are shifting, and they are defined by three massive shifts, all driven by the pursuit of attention and the constant measurement of fame.
First, the economic engine of digital marketing has pivoted definitively. Budgets are flowing from short-term reach metrics favored by traditional influencers to long-term trust and verifiable conversion driven by content creators, especially those micro-creators.
Right.
Marketers are demanding measurable ROI on the one commodity that remains scarce: genuine audience trust.
Second, reality television is no longer a search for love or raw talent. It's an accepted, sophisticated launchpad for digital entrepreneurs. This overwhelming financial incentive challenges the basic premise of authentic participation, forcing contestants to constantly manage and perform a curated self for their inevitable future brand deals, often in these hydraulically engineered emotional environments.
And third, while fame metrics follower counts, engagement rates are increasingly factored into professional casting decisions, particularly for lead roles that need built-in marketability to save production costs.
The craft still matters.
True, sustained craft and niche, genuine engagement still offer the highest sustainable return on investment in both entertainment and commerce. The goal is to be indispensable, not just famous.
And the digital age has blurred the lines between the real person, the highly edited performance of self on TV, and the optimized brand sold on social media. Since consumers trust relatable authenticity and seek out genuine voices, the ultimate skill for success in the future might not be mastering a traditional talent, but mastering the performance of the authentic self under constant monetized surveillance.
And that's the truly provocative thought we leave you with. If authenticity is the most valuable commodity, and we know that every action on these platforms is being surveilled, edited, and measured for profit, if the electronic panopticon forces us to perform our ideal self, what happens when the performance of sincerity becomes the only viable path to generating income?
A huge question.
How much of your actual self are you willing to suppress or sell to master the performance of being real enough to get paid?
A fascinating, slightly unsettling, but absolutely critical question for understanding how fame and commerce function in the modern era. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.